I started volunteering.
It's all about who you know in sport.
Am I going to be calling the last 10 seconds of the grand final?
You can connect with the interviewer. The hand goes up when they've got to make a decision.
Having a network is one of the most important things you can do.
I didn't necessarily follow my passion. I followed my curiosity.
Once you've worked in sport, there's no going back.
And then lo and behold, before I left, I got offered too.
Hello and welcome to the SportsGrad Podcast, the ultimate guide to make it in the sports industry. Brought to you by Deakin University, home to the world's #1 sports science school. My name is Reuben Williams. I'm an ex-Cricket Australia employee who started SportsGrad to help others get their dream job in sport, and now it's become my own dream job. Absolutely love doing this podcast and helping people in our program and seeing the great successes that they go on to achieve in the industry. The purpose of this podcast is to help you get a job in sport. So if that's for you, hit subscribe and I will be in your ears every single week with advice on how to start living the dream in sport. Now, today we are talking about how to land a job in sport from just one networking event. Doesn't matter if you're 30 plus, doesn't matter if you're working at a law firm, accounting firm, doesn't matter if you don't come from the sports industry, whatever. If you do this properly, it can lead to a breakthrough in the sports industry for you and your career. So when you do this properly, if you're out there trying to job hunting in sport at the moment, if you nail this one networking event, you will stop getting rejected in the DMs. You'll stop being invisible to the sports industry, which is probably the real problem that you're facing with why you're not getting hired. It's not a capability issue. You're just invisible. You'll stop being simply industry ready rather than industry wanted, and you'll finally actually start making progress with your career. So that's what we're going to help you with today. Now, I want to tell you a bit of a story from the early stages of my career, from the very first networking event that I went to. Now, this event was run by Deakin University back in 2016, I think, and it was at the Carlton Footy Club out at Icon Park. And I met a guy working for Cricket Australia called Joel Morrison. He was the second in charge of the Big Bash Leagues at the time. And we had a good chat that night, probably spoke for about 10 minutes, and then, you move on, you speak to other people. But after that event, I followed up with Joel and we got a coffee. And we caught up and had a chat, got to know him a bit better, and he got to know me. And then probably 6 months after that, we caught up for another coffee. So now we're looking at halfway through 2017. And then we get to the end of the year. So we're looking around October, September 2017 now. And a job comes up at Cricket Australia in the commercial team. And I'm just about to graduate. I'm on the hunt. And I don't want to leave anything to chance when I see this new job pop up. So I thought, how can I put my best foot forward? Well, I need to do my research. I would love to get a referral. Who do I know can do that for me? Thank God I have developed a relationship with a guy inside Cricket Australia over the last 12 months who might be able to help me. So I call up Joel and he speaks to me for the next 45 minutes. And he tells me everything I need to know about the commercial team. He tells me everything I need to know about the manager, tells me everything I need to know about the interview process at Cricket Australia, and then goes and puts my name forward internally. And what that meant is I arrived super prepared for that interview. And it also meant that when I arrived, they already knew a bit about me. And I'd had, this tick of approval from Joel, which meant that, I was walking into the interview room from a position of strength with a competitive advantage over everybody else. And when you're trying to get a job that literally 500 plus people are applying for, you need to have a competitive advantage. And it had taken me 12 months to build up this competitive advantage. But the result of that was I left the interview. 2 hours later, I go back to study for my final exams and I get a call from Sharon from HR who says, "Hey, Reuben, we would love to have you join the team at Cricket Australia." And that connection that led to that information, as well as that referral that led to that first job, literally changed my life. I would not be sitting here right now doing SportsGrad if not for that breakthrough moment at Cricket Australia. And even years later, Joel said to me at the Melbourne meetup last year, he was a guest speaker there, and we had a bit of a full circle moment where I told this story then. And he actually brought up that on the second coffee halfway through the year, he said, "Reuben, I remember you telling me about your idea for SportsGrad and what it could become, and looks like it's going pretty well now." So it's awesome that 7 years later, people like Joel are still around. But that is what is on offer for you if you know how to attend these events in the right way and take the necessary steps off the back of them too. You can not only have your own breakthrough moment, but it can put your career on a vastly different trajectory, and it can also lead to relationships that, stand for close to a decade now. Quick one. Have you got your eye on a future in sport? If you're ready to transform the industry, then perhaps get ready to study with Deakin and prepare yourself to redefine what it means to work in sport. That's what I did, at least. Deakin's School of Exercise and Nutrition Sciences is ranked #1 in the world. Pretty cool, hey? So if you want to turn your passion for sport into an impactful career, get ready to push the limits of exercise science, sport coaching, sport development, sport management, nutrition sciences, physical education, and more. You can do it all at Deakin. Apply now and study at Deakin University. Let's dive into it. So one thing to explain before we go any further is that the reason why this is important, and you can't just, rock up and, apply for a job and hope for the best, and why networking events are important in sport is because 80% of jobs in sport live in the hidden job market, as opposed to the 20% of jobs that live in the open job market, which is like just any job board, what you see on Seek, Sports People, the rest of them, etc. And so you are blocking yourself out of the large majority of jobs that exist if you do not have a network. And these jobs just get passed around to people who are top of mind. For example, like I've hired, several people who I'm like, right, who do I know? Just go straight to them. And so that is why this is important. But the reason why that exists is because sport doesn't have a recruitment problem. Many people want to work in sport. Instead, it has a filtering problem. You got literally hundreds, if not thousands in some cases, of people that want to apply for the jobs. The people have to filter through all these different applications to try and find a nugget within all these different resumes. And so that means, recruiters will literally do anything they can in sport to try and, speed up the process and make it easier for themselves. So as a result of this, we have recruiters who come to SportsGrad events to see who they can hire, to meet people first so that they can make the recruitment process much, much easier. And so with that in mind, if you're coming to one of our upcoming SportsGrad meetups, here's what you can do to make sure that you meet the right people, but you also take the necessary steps to lead to a network that gets you a job in sport. So there are 5 steps that you need to follow to turn a networking event into a job in sport. Step number 1, remind yourself of your goals and why you are going. Now, underneath the broad goal you should have of a particular job and a particular sport, you want to set yourself a people goal. For example, it might be, I want to meet 30 people in sport this year. So if that's your yearly goal, you should be thinking about, well, how can this event help me hit my people goal? And you might decide, okay, I want to use this event to chew off a third of that goal in one night. So I want to try and make 10 new connections. I'm here to get a job in sport. Tonight can help me meet 10 new people. That should be what's top of mind for you when you go to this event. Now, you arrive at the event with this new goal. The goal is to have 10 connections. So step 2 is to make sure you have 10 conversations that can grow your network later. Let's say, for example, that, across the course of the night, there's maybe 90 minutes to network and mingle with people. If you break those 90 minutes down into 10 people who you want to meet, that's, 9 minutes per person. So let's say you roughly want to spend, 5 to 10 minutes chatting to one person before you move on. That is a perfectly acceptable thing to do. And if you get stuck and if you want to keep chatting, that's totally fine. But, just keep your goal in mind and why you are there. And just remember, there's always time to follow up later, which we'll get to in a sec. So when you are at the event, spend 5 to 10 minutes chatting with people, understanding who they are and share a bit about yourself. But then when it comes time to move on, it is perfectly acceptable to say, hey, there's a few more people I want to say hi to, but it's been great to speak to you. I'll catch you around, and simply move on. It's polite, it's honest, and it's the way to do it. Now, once you meet a new person, you don't want to forget them. So in between chatting to people, keep a note in your phone of who you meet. And if you feel embarrassed about pulling your phone out and writing people's names down, go to the bathroom, hide in the corner, whatever you have to do to write someone's name down, and maybe a little bit about them and what you spoke about, so you've got a reference point on the conversation you had. So that's what you need to do when you are at the event. Meet your 10 people, take a note of who they are, and keep something to remember them with. Now, the next thing you want to do is post about the event. So step number 3 is post on LinkedIn that you were there. So we will always send out photos after a meetup so that you guys have got something to post, because we know how valuable LinkedIn content is and a personal brand is to your career. It just adds leverage to everything that you do. So when you post up a photo the next day, what you want to do is tag anyone in it. Maybe you tag the guest speaker, you might want to tag myself, you might want to tag anyone else you met, anyone else in the photos that are in it as well. But when you post about going to an event, it says a lot about who you are. And if you've got a full-blown LinkedIn content strategy to build a personal brand that leads you to a job, which is what we help people create for themselves in the SportsGrad Method program, then what you want to be aiming for is having 10% of posts signal who you are. Because what you need to do is, when it comes to the recruitment process, you're trying to say to a recruiter, this is what I can do, this is why I do it, and this is who I am. And who you are answers a question in the recruiter's mind of, is this person going to fit in with the team? And so, so by sharing, that you are the kind of person who is invested in your career, you're taking time out of your Tuesday or Thursday night to get ahead, you're motivated. That's what posting on LinkedIn about going to an event says about you. And to be honest, everyone in sport does this. And so pretty much everyone in sport is a motivated individual who cares about their career, because to get into sport, you have to be that. So just by posting on LinkedIn, you kind of signal to the rest of the industry that like, hey, I'm like you guys, I fit in with you. So post about the event. But what this also does is it creates a really natural way for people to engage with you. So they might like your post, they might comment on your post, and that just kind of keeps the conversation going from the night before. Which leads me to step number 4. In the following 48 hours, send a message to all 10 people on your list. So everyone who you met, send them a message with something specific about them and what you talked about. And then also ask if you'd like to chat more over coffee, because this is where the magic happens. The magic happens in the follow-up, not on the night, in the follow-up. But you don't get the follow-up unless you go on the night. So after the event, send your entire list of people who met a message and ask to chat more over coffee. Step number 5 is arrive prepared for those coffees and impress the hell out of them. Because now, if you do that, what you would have done by the end of this is you would have created 10 industry contacts with a deep relationship and, who can be valuable for you in the future in the space of 1 month. Let's say you meet them on day 1, you follow up within day 2 or day 3, and you start having, your 10 catch-ups over your remaining, 25 days in the month. That is the quickest way to create 10 industry contacts that you can turn to. And when you've got 10 within a month, one of them can turn to someone who ends up being a Joel Morrison for you. And you can catch up with these people in 6 months' time. You can ask them about opportunities down the track. But that is the quickest way to turn one networking event into a job in sport. So I've got some stories about how people have done this in the past and examples of how they've led to jobs. But, this is a reason why we run SportsGrad meetups, to give you guys the chance to network and meet people in sport. So they are coming up super, super soon. Highly recommend you get involved. All of them run after work from, say, like 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So we're coming to Adelaide tomorrow on the 17th of June. Sydney is Thursday, the 19th of June. Brisbane, Tuesday, the 24th of June. Melbourne, Thursday, 27th of June. London is Wednesday, the 2nd of July, which is going to be absolutely awesome. So make sure you get involved in that. There's tickets available on the website or via the link in the show notes. Now, if you're wondering, does this actually work? Well, let me share these 3 examples with you of people who landed a job at the SportsGrad meetup. So, number 1, we had Rashan. So Rashan is up in Sydney. He used to work in recruitment for IT, finance and accounting roles. And he came to the Sydney meetup and met the people and culture team at Cricket New South Wales. One thing led to another. He's now the cricket manager at Cricket New South Wales. And when he got the job, he sent me a message saying, hey man, thanks so much for putting on the event and what you do. Really helped me get a leg up with this role. Number 2 is Dan Morris. So Dan was working as a coordinator out at Sydney Showgrounds. He came to our SportsGrad meetup. He met the guest speaker, which was Claire Stewart Hunter, one of the general managers at Gemba. They get chatting. Next thing you know, Dan is an account manager at Gemba. Third example, Jaden McDonald. He was working as a strategy consultant. He met Adam Clough from the AFL. They get chatting. Next thing you know, Jaden finally breaks into the sports industry with a new job as the participation and fan acquisition officer at the AFL. And in the comments of the post that Jaden put out saying, "Hey, I'm excited to share I've got a new job," in the comments, Adam Clough from the AFL commented and said, "Welcome to the team, mate. Excited to have you on board. Thanks for the invite, SportsGrad, to the Sydney meetup that led us here." So that's what happens. Both Jaden and Dan have now gone on to new roles in sport and as a result have put their career on a new trajectory because of the connections that they made at one single event. And that's what can happen for you. That's all for today. Make sure you do your career a favor and grab a ticket. Even if networking scares the shit out of you, you owe it to yourself to finally push your comfort zone and come along. We have people who arrive knowing absolutely nobody. They come on their own, but they leave having had a fun time. And importantly, they live with connections that are literally life-changing. Like, I'll never forget one event in Melbourne where I was standing in line, meeting the people who were walking in, and I met this guy called Corey. Corey says to me, "G'day, Reuben. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't shitting myself right now." And so a lot of people come to these events super nervous, but if you like Corey, you end up coming back again, and you end up working in the sports industry. So if you're looking to push your comfort zone, boost your confidence, meet some industry connections, meet some like-minded people as well, and ultimately change the course of your career, make sure you get on. Make sure you grab a ticket to the SportsGrad meetup. If you're on the fence, you owe it to yourself. Get out of your own way and get involved. We'll see you there. Hey, last thing before you go. Everyone knows the sports industry is super competitive, so you might want to keep this to yourself. But every Monday, I send out an email called Shortcuts by SportsGrad. It takes 5 minutes to read, and it gives you everything you need to get an edge over other job hunters on a silver platter. Here you'll find exclusive job opportunities, networking events, and premium resources to get ahead. Again, it takes less than 5 minutes to read, and it's designed to help you get ahead and stay ahead. So if you want to receive the next one in your inbox, head to sportsgrad.com.au/newsletter. But as I mentioned, competition for jobs in sport is red hot, so perhaps keep this to yourself.